Adolescence is filled with great excitement, anticipation, triumphs, failures, new friends, first loves, and many other experiences that shape us for the rest of our lives. Let's get a better understanding of what adolescence looks like. Picture a big car with a big engine, high-octane fuel, poor steering, faulty brakes, and uses a lot of gas. That's what we could describe as adolescence. The human brain goes through a great amount of changes well past teenage years and into our early 20s. There are many more narrow pathways at this age. Narrow pathways are areas within the brain which carry messages from one part of the brain center to another. As we get older, our brain figures out more efficient and direct routes within the brain to carry these messages. Pathways that are not being used get closed up. This is called the pruning process. The amygdala is responsible for processing incoming sensory information. Think of it as our gatekeeper. This is what starts off our fight or flight response. This also develops before our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is a part of the brain responsible for reasoning and problem solving. This is also the last part of our brain to develop. Adrenal stress hormones, sex hormones, and growth hormones increase at great rates at this age. This fluctuation creates greater emotional upheaval for teenagers. So you may be asking right now, what does all this information have to do with teenage mental health concerns? The reason we're presenting this is to get a better understanding of how the adolescent brain works and challenges teenagers will have in regulating emotions. When we throw in a mental health concern, that especially makes it more challenging. Also to keep in mind, a good portion of mental health issues start becoming more apparent at this age. One theory is the pruning process. The closing off of pathways may expose more vulnerable or defective pathways, leading to mental health symptoms becoming much more obvious. A parent's role in assisting their child through troubled times is letting go, allowing their children to learn how to manage their problems more through guiding than telling them what to do. This is very important for the adolescent to begin to gain control over their own emotions and learn effective ways to cope. It's certain that a parent will struggle in their role in figuring out how to assist their child. If we use a driver's education metaphor, we're going to be behind that passenger wheel, wanting to make a turn and put on the brakes at almost every stop. However, for our child to really learn how to drive, we're going to need to let go of that steering wheel. Now keep in mind, we are going to be occasionally putting on the brakes, but for the most part, we want to get our child to learn how to drive. This is a role a parent is going to play in helping their child develop their skills in addressing their mental health issues. There are important guidelines parents need to work with and follow. The key here is creating learning moments in a learning environment. What is most important is that creating a common language allows us to focus on the mental health challenge and not allowing rationalizations to deter us from focusing on the illness. We also need to keep in mind that as kids get older, our ability to control, not influence, but control their choices really does diminish. Both a curse and a blessing of being a parent is seeing things through an adult perspective that your child cannot see or is yet to see. What is important is not only figuring out when to step in, but how to and how often. Let's talk more about that. When a child is struggling with an issue, we want the attention focused on the mental health issue, not the symptom. If a child has social anxiety and is uncomfortable about going to a birthday party, we don't focus on the somatic complaints or the excuses, but we bring attention and discuss the anxiety that's presenting itself. By focusing on the mental health issue, we are not using time and resources in addressing or challenging symptoms. We are focusing on labeling the mental health issue. Having the child recognize that these are symptoms of a problem and not problems in of themselves allows energy to be shifted in a much more productive route. Help the adolescent recognize functions of their behavior in the relationship to their disorder. Depressed kids isolate. Kids with anger management issues have thoughts and behaviors that allow their anger to escalate. Anxious people worry. By doing this allows them to be able to predict and prepare for challenging moments. Once a common dialogue is established and we have successfully labeled the challenges we are seeing, discussions will be gone in a much more productive route. Your child will be able to plan and come up with interventions to address these challenges. We want to create an environment for the child to feel empowered and to address their challenges. Help them come up with solutions and create discussions revolving around them providing answers, not you. If issues do persist or become intense, we do encourage you to seek out some professional help.